Gimbals are a great way to get some dynamic shots, and today I'm going to show you how I use them to get the shots for my travel edits. So obviously we are going to need a gimbal and a camera. So what will I be using today? It'll be the Holhem M7 gimbal, my phone, and an ND filter. Now actually I'm gonna need to make an ND filter holder for the phone as I don't have one at the moment, so I used cardboard. I found this design from TMS Productions. Super nifty when you need something in a pinch. But I made some slight modifications to fit my needs. Now the techniques that I'm showcasing can be applied to any other gimbal, though there will be some slight differences in features when using this particular one. That said, let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about the type of gimbal shots I like to use when I go out and film my travel edits, and I'll explain each as we get into this. This type of shot is great for introducing the viewer to a scene or pairing the shot with a transition shot. Sometimes I start off a little bit lower too, so that way I can really see the motion blur on the ground. It really draws in the attention of the viewer and brings them towards whatever subject I am aiming at when I finish the motion. A little tip here, I like to set the gimbal movement a little bit slower. That way I ensure I am finishing the shot at where I want it to aim. What helps these shots look best is to make sure you define your subject or define your intention with the shot. So a good way of doing so is asking these questions. For defining your subject, is your subject static like a building or a landmark? Or is it dynamic like a car, train, person, or anything else that moves? For defining your intention, is this shot for establishing a location? Is this shot going to be used as the hook to my edit? Once you define this, you can determine how you will use it in your edit. For example, I like to build up scenes and intensity with movement. So in order to do so, it's good to start off the scene with a subject that is moving. If you don't have many moving subjects in the area, you can alternatively grab establishing shot with this gimbal movement, then pair it with some static shots afterwards. Also, if you do the reverse of this movement, it can be used for ending a scene or a sequence. I like to use these to do some transitions between scenes and sometimes to review a scene. Essentially what this looks like is me ninja walking forward and looking sideways or straddle position and moving my arm from one side to the other. It's good to do a quick pre-mapping in your head before starting the shot. So make sure you know where you want to start and end your shot. But sometimes I don't know because when I travel and film leisurely, I just don't think about it all the time and things always change. So I just say go as far as you can when you are doing your movements. I normally like to utilize the side tracking shots with places that have a bit more symmetry to it. For example, crosswalks, alleyways, and pathways are great places to try these types of shots. They are symmetrical and work really well for this type of gimbal movement. You can also use different focal lengths here to pair the shots nicely when you use them together in post-production. So in this case, one further out, one closer up. Another shot within this type of gimbal movement that's really good is if you have an actual subject to track while they are moving forward. And the last shot I use in this category is the slow one that starts off hidden, usually behind something, and then shifts outward to reveal the scene. This gives a little bit more of a dramatic effect. So how I like to do this is find the street poles, building walls, bushes, cars, sometimes even people. Essentially start behind those things and then move out and reveal the scenes behind them. I also like to do a whip at the end of my shot to potentially add them into my edits for transitions. This can apply to other gimbal movements too. That turned out better than I expected. So the tripod shot. Actually, I like to use a gimbal just because it can double as a tripod. When I go out to film, I am normally by myself and it's hard to capture, yourself, especially if you're traveling. Now, yes, the con is that the gimbal, when used as a tripod, is not high enough at some points. But a cool thing about this gimbal is that it can actually extend upwards, giving you a bit more height in your shots. Another neat feature that can be used on here is that this gimbal has AI detection mode and can track me once I give the OK hand signal indication. When I'm finished recording, I can just give the stop hand signal and it will stop there. I can also detach the screen and preview my shot as well. Also, for when I go and capture time lapses in this tripod mode, I can utilize its timed panning or tilting feature using its app and capture some creative shots with those. The push-in shot. This is probably my most used type of gimbal shot given the nature of just traveling while filming at the same time. I mean, you are walking straight for the most part, so that's how I end up capturing these shots the most. This can be very effective if you have symmetry or a subject in your composition. So for example, I will use this push-in technique down alleyways, architectural areas, or busy markets. So the orbit shot, I just do this by moving the gimbal in a circular-like path around the subject. It gives a more immersive perspective, allowing viewers to experience the scene from different angles. I utilize this where there is one subject in the middle, normally like a statue, a landmark, and so forth. So yeah, these are the main types of shots whenever I travel. There's definitely more, but these are the essentials to get you going. So it was fun switching up my setup for this project. Had a very new and fun experience using my phone and gimbal combination here. Be sure to check out the Hohem M7 gimbal if you are a mobile creator or want to utilize a gimbal on your mobile setup. Link in the description. Hopefully you got something to take away from this video. If you have any questions, leave them below and I'll be sure to answer them. That's it. Thanks for watching and bye for now.